Welcome students. The topic for today is matter. We see many things around us. All these things have some kind of matter in them. That means we can perceive some of these things by our senses. For example, a glass bowl could be seen. A burning agarbatti could be recognized by its smell. So, you can define matter as any matter has mass and occupies space. Matter has mass and occupies space. Some of them may be heavy and some objects may be light. Whenever we see any object, immediately our brain automatically recognizes whether the particular object is a solid, liquid or gas. Let us look into the properties of the solid, liquid and gas in detail. Properties of solid. Solids have a definite shape, they have a definite volume, they do not flow and they could not be compressed. Example for solid you can take stone, sand, etc. Next we will move on to properties of the liquid. The first property will be liquids, they do not have a definite shape. They occupy the shape of the container in which it is kept. They have a definite volume and they cannot be compressed, they readily flow. Example, milk, oil. Next we will move on to properties of gas. Gases, they do not have a definite shape, they do not have a definite volume. That means the volume of the gas is equal to the volume of the container in which it is kept. Gases are highly compressible. You can compress gases to a very good extent and they readily flow. Example, carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, etc. Next we will move on to composition of matter. What is matter composed of? Matter is composed of smaller particles. What are these smaller particles? These smaller particles are atoms, molecules and ions. First let us see in detail about atoms. The word atom, it is derived from the Greek word atomos. Atomos means indivisible. A means not. Tomos means divisible. One which is not divisible is called as an atom. So, you can define an atom as the smallest speck of an element which has all the properties or which exhibits all the properties of the particular element. And atoms, you have one more important point in atoms, that atoms take part in all chemical reactions. Next will be molecules. Atoms of the same element or atoms of different elements combine together and they form molecules. Now you can define a molecule as the smallest particle of an element or compound which can exist independently and retains all the physical and the chemical properties of the particular substance. That will be molecule. Next, what are ions? How are ions formed? Now, what are ions? Ions are actually charged particles. And how are these ions formed? When atoms gain electron or lose electron, ions are formed. Now, let us see how positively charged ions and negatively charged ions are formed. When an atom loses an electron, it forms a positively charged ion which you call it as cation. And when an atom gains electron, it forms negatively charged ion which you call it as anion. You may have some confusion in remembering this cation and anion. So, you can very easily remember it as, remember like this, cat have paws. And here you can write, instead of cat, you can write cations. This you can just core it and write positive charged. That means cations are positively charged. So you can very easily remember that. Next we will move on to symbols. We know that symbols play a very important role in chemistry. What are these symbols? The elements are represented in their shortened form, and this you call it as a symbol. No two elements will have the same symbol. Next we will see the history of the symbols. In ancient times, the Greeks used some geometric shapes to represent the four fundamental basic elements. Let us see what they are and how they represented. The Greeks are represented by these geometric shapes, and this they call it as air, and this they call it as earth, and this is water, and this is fire. These are fundamental elements. These symbols were not only used by those people, it was also used by alchemists. Let us see what is alchemy. Alchemy, it is nothing but a type of chemistry which deals with a way to find out some method in which the less valuable metals or the base metals or very cheap metals less valuable, and those could be converted into gold. They had to find some way in which they could convert these less valuable metals into gold, and that is called as alchemy. And those people who were involved in this, they were called as alchemists. This was followed in the Middle Age, and these alchemists also used these symbols. It was in 1808 John Dalton, he gave figurative symbols. Let us see what these figurative symbols are, but it is very difficult to represent them and very difficult to remember and use them. So we don't use these figurative symbols now, but let us have an idea and let us see what it is. For oxygen, it was represented by this O, and for this is oxygen, and for hydrogen like this, and this is for nitrogen. This is for water, and this is for lead. So it was very difficult to use them, so we don't use those figurative symbols now. Next we will move on to the symbols which were given by Berzelius. We use those symbols at present. Let us see what they are. In the year 1813, it was Berzelius who gave the real symbols. So he came out with 5 important points. Let us see what the points are. And in the first point, he said that for most common elements, especially the non-metals, the first letter of the element that remained the symbol. For example, for hydrogen H, oxygen O, carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus. So for most common elements, the first letter remained the symbol. And the second point, for some that is for 2 or 3 elements, the first letter of those elements remained the same, in which case the first letter and the second letter were written as the symbols. Let us see, for example, for calcium and cobalt, the first letter remains the same. So we are going to write the symbol for calcium as Ca, and for cobalt we are going to write it as Co. It's not the first letter alone we are using the first letter and the second letter together. Why? Because the first letter alone is common, so we are using the first letter and the second letter, in which case the first letter should be in the uppercase and the second letter should be in the lowercase. That means the first letter in capitals and the second letter in small letters. Another example also you can write here: bismuth, beryllium, barium. All these three elements, they had the same first letter B. So, we are going to write bismuth as Bi, beryllium as Be, and barium as Ba. So, the first letter and the second letter together we are going to write the first letter in uppercase and second letter in lowercase. And the third point will be, suppose the first two letters are remaining common for 2 or 3 elements, then what should we do? In that case, for the first element we will write the first letter and the second letter, and for the second element we will write first letter and third letter. Let us see, for example, calcium and cadmium. Here the first letter and the second letter remains the same for both. So, for calcium we are going to write it as Ca, and for cadmium we will write the first letter and the third letter Cd. Here we will write the first letter and the second letter Ca, and here we are going to write first letter and the third letter Cd. Similarly, you can also write for argon and arsenic. For argon we are going to write it as Ar, and for arsenic As. Both the first letter remains the same and the second letter is also remaining the same. So, for argon alone we are using first letter and the second letter, and for arsenic we are going to write first letter and the third letter. Similarly, you can cite one more example also, manganese and magnesium, in which manganese will be writing it as Mn and magnesium will be writing it as Mg. And the fourth point will be, for some elements their symbols were based on Latin names. Let us see what are they. For sodium, its symbol is based on the Latin name natrium. Natrium is the Latin name for sodium. So, the symbol is also written using this Latin name Na. So, for sodium the symbol is Na. The next one, for for lead it is plumbum. So, we will be writing it as Pb. Copper, it is cuprum. So, Cu. Potassium, it is helium. So, just K. And for gold, it is aurum. So, Au. Silver, argentum. So, Ag. And for mercury, hydrargyrum. So, Hg. So, this will be your fourth point, that is for some elements the symbols are written based on the Latin names. That will be your fourth point. And the last point will be, for some elements they are getting the names from the name of the country or the name of the scientist or Greek mythology or from the name of the planet. Let us see what those elements are and their symbols are. For americium, Americium, it is getting its name from America, the country America, and the symbol is AM. And you can also tell here europium. Europium is getting it from Europe, and its symbol is EU. And next, nobelium. Nobelium is getting its name from the scientist Alfred Nobel, and the symbol will be NO. And uranium, uranium is getting its name from Uranus, and the symbol is U. Uranus is a planet. Similarly, neptunium. Neptunium is getting its name from Neptune. Okay, and similarly for Mercury, Mercury, it is getting its name from the Greek god It's getting its name from the Greek god. Mercury is the name of the Greek god, so which is a mythological character. So all these 5 points are very important, and by these 5 points only we are writing the symbols today. By that we complete today's class. Thank you, children.